I'm Michael Fox, and this is the Prospector News Podcast. And we're on location at the Current Trends in Mining Finance Conference put on by the New York chapter of the SME. And I have joining me McEwen Mining, who is the General Manager and VP of McEwen Copper. Welcome aboard.
Thank you so much, Michael.
It's a pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure.
So, for our audience that's not familiar with McEwen Copper, let's give them the elevator pitch, 10,000 foot view down. Tell us about the company and how it came into being.
Sure. Rob McEwen within McEwen Mining had two interesting copper assets. And McEwen Mining is a precious metals company, and copper projects tend to be much larger. So about 1.5 years ago, the board of directors sat together and said, okay, well, how can we give additional value to those assets? What can we do to develop them going forward? So that's when McEwen Copper was born. Rob initially did a financing round, 40 million he put in himself, and we ended up being oversubscribed with about 82 million, and having also Rio Tinto on board. They invested at the time $25 million through their Newton arm. The Newton arm is the copper leaching technology company of Rio Tinto. So then, what is it made of? McEwen Copper is made of two assets. One is a very early exploration play in Nevada and the Cortez Battle Mountain trend, close to a lot of other big mines in Nevada. And the other one, which is an advanced exploration and goes into development, is Los Azules. Los Azules, according to Mining Intelligence from 2022, is a top 10 project by resource. It is one of the few projects not owned by a major, probably top 4 or so according to Mining Intelligence list. And we have done a lot of development since I joined the company a little bit over a year ago.
Wonderful. 2022 is a busy year for the company. You guys moved a lot of things in a heck of a hurry. Mm-hmm. Only being born in 2021, it's good to hit the ground running as a baby company. Tell us about the highlights of what happened in 2022.
So in terms of highlights, what happened is the first thing we did is we started a drilling campaign. We drilled 13.5 thousand meters. We had some good results. Then we did the financing, completed the financing with Rio Tinto in August last year. Then we started conversations with Stellantis, the car manufacturer. It's the fourth biggest automaker in the world. And to my knowledge, it's the first time a car manufacturer was interested on equity level investing in a copper developer. Then what we did as well is we improved the logistics getting to the site. We now have 2 access roads. The project is actually located in a very mining-friendly province, in the province of San Juan in Argentina, and it's close to infrastructure, about 70-ish kilometers straight line from a 500 kV power line and from provincial roads. And it's located somewhere between 3,100 and 3,600 meters of altitude, so it's relatively low in terms of altitude, which makes development so much more easy in the Andes. And then in going into 2023, what we did and what we announced in February was the investment of Stellantis, putting in 20 billion Argentinian pesos, which is at the official FX rate at that time about 155 million. And Rio Tinto validated this new price and put in another $30 million into the development of our project. I guess the companies were surprised by the amount of development that we have done in such a short amount of time. Then we have filed for our environmental permit application for exploitation. Yeah, that means for the construction and operation of the future mine on the 14th of April this year. Yeah. This is a major step forward for the project. To give you an idea, Jose Maria from Lundin filed their permit application for their mine in the same province, and they got the approval within a year. We have a project that is technologically easier, is a heap leach with solution extraction and electrowinning, is better understood by the regulator. So we think that we should be able to get our environmental permit to construct and operate in a similar or shorter time than the colleagues. We have a couple of important projects in San Juan. So there's an interesting mining cluster. You have Veladero, Barrick, and Shandong. You have Pascual Ama, Barrick. You have Altar from Aldebaran Resources. You have El Pachon from Glencore. You have Josemaria from Lundin. You have Filo Corp. It's also a Lundin Group company with Filo, all in the same province. So it is a clear expression of the attractiveness of San Juan, being ranked very highly in the Fraser Institute report every year. It just came out. Spectacular results. Chapeau for the people in San Juan. So I think we're in a good place. We are logistically very well located. We have done important improvements this year already. We have done about 34,000 meters of drilling already. More than twice the drilling that we did last season. We have 15 rigs up and turning at the moment at Los Azules. We have a significant amount of people working for us. We have a management team that, with the exception of my project director, who's American but lives in San Juan, and myself, I have more than 10 years experience in San Juan. The rest of the management team is Argentine, and the majority have top tier 1 experience in exploration, construction, operation of mines in San Juan. So I think we have been able to build a very competent team. We have good access. Now we can bring up 18-wheelers to site. We now have signed an agreement with YPF, that's a state-owned energy company. It's a very big company in Argentina, to supply us with 100% renewable energy, which will help us to meet our objective of being carbon neutral by 2038. So lots of things happening. It's a great project with lots of advances.
Wonderful. You mentioned Stellantis as a major investor. Most people probably don't recognize that as the parent company. What are the brands under that umbrella so people can relate to it in their day-to-day?
Yeah, that's interesting question. So Stellantis is Fiat Chrysler, Peugeot. They have brands such as Opel, Ram, and Wrangler, for example, that they manufacture. They are in Argentina. They have between directs and indirects about 24,000 people working for them. They produce about 160,000 cars in Argentina, half of which they export. They are very innovation driven, and they were looking to ensure supply of copper that they need for electrification. So when we reached out to them and I talked to Stellantis, it was very quick for them to say, well, we would like to get to know your project. And we brought them to the project, and they had a significant team, a technical team doing due diligence, because car makers usually don't have a deep understanding of mining, so they wanted to have the best of the batch doing their due diligence. It was very in-depth, and they liked what they found, so they came into being a shareholder. They own now 14.2% of the company, and that is the same as Rio Tinto. So we are very happy to have them on board, because they're also a future client of us.
It's it's good. It gets the end buyer being a shareholder in the company, so everyone's got a stake in the game of the success of the project.
Absolutely.
So we're going forward here into 2023. We had lots of work done last year. The permit is being asked for. What is the company's plans for 2023 to move the project while we wait for permit?
Yeah, sure. So we're currently finishing our PA. The PA is updated with all the most current cost information. We have done new mine plans, optimized mine plans, to adapt to this leaching technology that we are implementing. The project doesn't depend on Newton technology, Rio Tinto's technology, to stand alone. The base case is a standalone, and we think we have very attractive economics coming out soon. The PA should be published in June. Then all the work that we're doing at the moment is already focused on feasibility study delivery by end of 2024. So if you look at timelines, we think we have very abbreviated timelines. We have a lot of push to drive this project forward as quickly as we can. It's a very attractive project from my point of view.
Well, it's a huge project, and it's remarkable that it can move from exploration to mine that fast. So the permit comes. Let's be a little bit pessimistic and say a year from April, because that was the last permit. Once the permit's been approved, how long before this project is actually an operating mine?
So what we need to do is we need to finish the feasibility study. Then we present the feasibility study to the Secretary of Mines of the nation in Argentina, which will then trigger the 30 years of tax stability. And I think we need to have a conversation around some betterments of the current conditions to make this project even more financeable in Argentina, because Argentina has its ups and downs. And we want to make sure that we have a very compelling and attractive business case for our shareholders and the investors that will come on board to develop this project. Thereafter, we'll make the decision, the notice to proceed from our board of directors. We'll probably look for some additional financing for engineering and then for construction. Engineering for this project should take a year and a half, 2 years, and then it probably takes 2 to 3 years for construction overall.
So this could be up and running towards 2027, 2028?
2029, 2028, with a lot of wind in our favor. Could be 2030. That's kind of the time frame that we're managing. It depends a little bit on the market, on the copper market. It depends on the permitting. It depends on the situation in Argentina, because mining companies in Argentina need some help from the national government, because the situation can be improved a lot, and Argentina has a historic chance of benefiting from this huge boom of electrification. So our advice to the Argentines would be, okay, well, maybe there are some improvements that can help to surface more mines in Argentina, and make our project even more attractive going forward.
Okay. How is the Argentinian government? A lot of people kind of say Argentina is not one of the best places to do business. It's been suggested. You being on the ground there, is that a fair assessment, or?
So I think I'm a little bit biased because I like Argentina. I'm German. I arrived in Argentina in 2009, and I have worked for a variety of companies, including Barrick Gold. I was CFO for Barrick Gold in Argentina for their projects for a number of years, and I've managed through several financial crises, and we have made I think we had a lot of success in Argentina, on the Veladero mine as an example. And even through those very difficult situations, it's a lot of additional work. You have to jump through a lot of hoops to get things going. But with the right team, that's my belief, you can be very successful in Argentina.
Okay, so there's definitely opportunities, and it's greater than the risk.
That's what I believe. And it is for your viewers and listeners, I think it's important to understand that natural resources in Argentina belong to the provinces. So your main counterparty is the provincial government. And the provincial government of San Juan, year over year, is very highly ranked in the investment attractiveness indicator by Fraser. A recent report just came out, and they made it to the top of Latin America again. So they are very interesting. There are some issues that needs resolve on a national level. I mean, investors, when they bring money into the country, they expect to be able to get it out. And same is for dividends, for supplier payments, and so forth. And there is certainly some work that Argentina can do to make the stability agreements much more powerful, and bring even more mining companies into Argentina that will stand for progress and development for the provinces. I've seen a huge amount of development in the 13 years that I know San Juan. San Juan before and San Juan now is totally different. I actually have a business totally unrelated to mining. I have a brewery in Argentina and San Juan, and that wouldn't have been possible without mining. People can go to the brewery and have a nice beer, because unemployment is low in San Juan, and because people have money to be able to go out and and have some fun.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've been to the PDAC. The brewery and the mining industry is related, whether you think it is or not.
Yeah, I mean, for me, was rather a measure of self-preservation. Being German, and when I arrived in San Juan, limited access to good beer, so I had to find a way around that.
I had no doubt. What else should we know about the company going forward?
So I think for people that are interested in investing, and for people that are interested in having access to the project now, we have, obviously it's part of McEwen Mining, so people could buy a share of McEwen Mining. The share price has done over the last year, I believe, very well. It had some difficulties in the past, but it's moving in the right direction. I think people start to understand the value component that Los Azules and Delta Creek represent as part of McEwen Mining. If you look at comparable valuations, we have in San Juan, we had two mining companies. We are both bigger than them. We are about twice that of Rosmaria. Rosmaria was sold for 485 million. And we have also higher grade. We have about 40% higher copper grade. And then there's Filo Mining, same province, and about 6 times that of Filo, and also have higher grade than Filo. And Filo is valued of about more than $2 billion. So we think that the market is starting to realize what is the value of those projects as part of McEwen Mining. I personally think that there is an interesting case, and as you can see from the frame of reference that I've given, I think there is space towards increase in price, and people that want to get into it now can buy McEwen Mining, and of course do their own research around the project.
Yeah.
I'm very open. If somebody wants to reach out to me on LinkedIn and ask about the project, we can certainly supply all the public information that we have on hand.
Does McEwen Copper have its own website?
Yeah, we have a McEwen Copper LinkedIn profile where we post what is going on with the project. So it's called McEwen Copper, and the Los Azules Project also has its own website on LinkedIn where we publish specifically Spanish content. It's more directed toward the people that are Spanish speaking. And I tend to use LinkedIn as well for communication of things that not necessarily go through a press release. We just want to say, hey, this is what we're doing at the moment.
Yeah.
That is not material that needs to
Be released.
But that may be interesting for people to see what are people doing, what is our vision, mission, our purpose. We communicate a lot of things that we do through those platforms.
Okay. I look forward to seeing the progress as we head through into production.
Yeah, thank you so much.
This is an exciting project.
Yes, I'm very happy to be able to lead it.
Wonderful. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Mike.
The Prospector News podcast is for educational purposes only. The opinions expressed are those of the participants and are not to be taken as investment advice. Listeners need to do their own due diligence and seek advice of a licensed investment advisor.